No, Kyle, you got to give Kyler a new deal. It is what it is. And Kyler has told you he's walked down this path with the first modern shot across the bow, Broussard, deleting social media. Oh, when an athlete deletes all references to you on social media, the GM's ears have to perk up. Like, what's going on? And then, you know what? Kyler's agent walked it back, said, oh, hold on a second. Let me release a 10,000-word manifesto. Well, it's very long. I don't know. Get close to your TV if you need to read this. But that basically says he absolutely wants to be your long-term QB, and he desperately wants to win the Super Bowl. Then there's another whole chapter from War and Peace there. That was probably unnecessary. So they kicked it around a little bit. Now the agent says, you know what? My offer's off the board. And Kyler's not going to play. Brew, he's slated to make $5 million. Which seems like a lot of money. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand the argument, like, man, $5 million, go play. Until you see what your peers are making and guys who aren't as good as you are making. Derek Carr gets 3 years, 120. Cousins got 1 year, 35. Deshaun Watson sat out, didn't have a good time, a lot of good headlines. 5 years, 230, a lot of it guaranteed. Christian Kirk got $18 million from Jacksonville. So if I'm Kyler Murray, I got to sit down with my agent and really think about sitting it down and shutting it down for the whole year. I got to start figuring out a new deal because that's the current status we're at with the NFL. No. Pay your quarterbacks if you believe in your quarterback. He's not making five. He's not going to go play for $5 million. It makes no sense.
Oh my gosh! Wow, the craziness. Wilds, I would love to negotiate against you. Hey, I won't play. Oh, okay. All right, let's sign that deal. No, I mean, he's going to play. He's going to play. Deshaun. All right, I'm serious. He's going to play. All right, first of all, there's questions about his leadership already. And if he is willing to sit out this season, his fourth in the NFL, when he really hasn't established anything, looked good, obviously, at points especially. But he hasn't established that he's going to be an elite quarterback for the next 10 years. If I'm another team, I'm looking at this like there are already questions about his leadership. Now he's willing to sit out rather than have the competitive juices to go out there and really show that he's elite. He's only played 3 years, and most quarterbacks, or many, don't get an extension at that point. Now that makes me question his intangibles and commitment to winning even more. All right, look, I got 5 words for you, Wilds. Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. Those are the two exactly guys who got big deals after their 3rd year, and they hadn't fully. They actually did more. Some of them did more. Goff did more than Kyler did at that point, but they were mistakes. Unless you're Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or a Josh Allen, you're not. I'm not giving you the huge extension after 3 years. Allen had made the playoffs twice, Nick. Mahomes was MVP and Super Bowl champion. Lamar Jackson, who I would have given it to, MVP. Joe Burrow obviously got to a Super Bowl. Kyler has yet to throw for 4,000 yards. And last year didn't even run for 500. His running's going to get less and less. And he's been banged up or injured 2 of the last 3 seasons too, Nick. So I'm waiting.
This is exactly
all right. I'm calling his bluff and not paying it.
So there's 5 quarterbacks, Wilds, in the last 7-8 years that have gotten paid on the schedule Kyler wants to get paid. Because what you're doing with his salary is disingenuous, in my opinion. He was the number 1 pick of the draft. His salary is set by the league, essentially, as far as what you get at that draft pick. It was a 4-year, $36 million deal with a 5th-year option for almost $30 million. So he's making $9 million a year. There are 5 quarterbacks in the last handful of years that have gotten paid after year 3. Mahomes, who was a no-doubter. Deshaun, who on the field, and up to that point in his career, was a no-doubter. Josh Allen, who, as Broussard mentioned, had done more. And while I didn't think he was a no-doubter, I was wrong. And he's a foot taller than Kyler, so you don't worry about the injury stuff. And then Goff and Wentz, who were not no-doubters, and they ended up being big mistakes. The idea that, so Lamar was making not $9 million a year under his deal. It was 32nd pick of the draft. Had a 4-year, $9 million deal total,
Right.
making a little more than $2 million a year. Had accomplished more than Kyler, and the Ravens didn't pay him, maybe because his own team screwed it up, meaning his management, or because he wasn't a no-doubter in their mind. The idea that Kyler has any leverage here, you actually think that Kyler Murray's career is going to go in a positive direction if he sits out a year of football before he has a playoff victory? You think that if you were advising him, I understand bluffing it, but if you were advising him, you would actually tell him, I think it will be a good idea for you to sit out the season rather than either accept whatever offer they have or play it out and then get $30 million guaranteed next year. At a minimum,
Right.
$30 million guaranteed if they don't give you a contract extension next year. I think it'd be terrible advice.
I think these are the dominoes from Deshaun Watson's contract. He sat out, had one of the worst offseason headlines in NFL history, and then walked into a 5-year, $230 million deal. So, yeah, I think it's on the board that he sits out. And I know we talk about from the management side, the Jared Goff deal. You know what the poster child for a bad deal is the Jared Goff deal. Well, what did that yield? Jared Goff went to the Super Bowl, and then they got off the deal, and then won the Super Bowl. So why is that viewed as this horrible deal? If I'm Cardinals manager, it's like worst case scenario, we get off the deal and have to attach a bunch of picks, just like the Rams did to get off of Goff, and then maybe we win the Super Bowl? That feels like that's
the worst case scenario is wins. And if you think, but that's not the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is wins. First of all. Second of all, the idea that there's going to be a Matt Stafford just sitting there available, it may be, but in my lifetime, there hasn't been many times that a Stafford has been sitting there just waiting to be available. But Broussard, I do not think you can compare any contractual situation to a rookie contract contractual situation. Obviously, the rookie salary scale, one could argue, is unfair. You could argue a lot of things. But Deshaun was not sitting out in looking for a second deal. Deshaun got his second deal, and then the Texans were such a disaster, he threatened to sit out. And then he had the most, horrific offseason allegations one could have, and it muddied the entire thing. Deshaun is almost in a separate category. It would be to me like a wide receiver on a rookie deal looking at what Devontae or Tyreek just got and saying, well, rip up my deal. Like one of the many advantages teams have and one of the reasons people value draft picks is the cost certainty associated with their first 4 years. Kyler's played 3. So I think the comps are the other young quarterbacks who got paid after year 3, and Kyler has not accomplished as much as any of the guys who got paid after year 3.
Yeah, and this makes me wonder, is Kyler worried about getting hurt? Really, because as I said, 2 years ago he was banged up. Now he did play the whole season, but he was banged up and fizzled down the stretch. And last year had the ankle injury, came back and never was the same. Like, as much as we rip Cliff Kingsbury for those late season swoons, and we should, Kyler's a part of that too. And I wonder, in Kyler's mind, he's already a tiny quarterback. Is he thinking, man, I need to get this deal because I don't know how much longer I'm going to either last or be the same quarterback. Like when we saw the toll that taking hits took on Cam Newton, who's twice as big as Kyler Murray. What are they going to take on Kyler? So that makes me wonder too, but Nick's right. No way I'm paying him now.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.